the meeting of the Tennessee Higher Education Commission is called to order. Thank you all for being here. We will first call the roll. For those of you joining virtually, which is everyone, just a reminder to please state whether there are others present in the room with you. Madam Secretary, if you wouldn't mind, please calling the roll.
Chairwoman Scarlett.
Here, no one else is in the room.
Commissioner Allman.
Here, no one else is in the room.
Commissioner Cope. Commissioner Knight.
Here, and no one else is in the room.
Commissioner Coben.
Here I'm alone.
Here and alone.
Commissioner Matlock.
I'm here also and alone.
Commissioner Moser. Commissioner Stafford.
Present, no one in the room with me.
Commissioner Wharton. Commissioner Winton. Secretary Hargett.
Here and alone.
Treasurer Lillard. Commissioner Morrison.
Here
Comptroller
and alone.
Mumpower. Oh, thank you. Comptroller Mumpower.
Here, and I'm alone.
Chairwoman, you have 9 members present and 8 voting members present and a quorum.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Our first item of business is a statement on the need for us to meet electronically today. Madam Secretary, please give us the honor.
Commission members, all members are participating electronically today. As such, Tennessee Code annotated 844-108B2 requires that the commission make a determination that a necessity exists in order for a quorum of members to participate by electronic or other means of communication. A necessity means that the matters to be considered by a public body at a meeting require timely action by the body, that physical presence by a quorum of the members is not practical within the period of time requiring action, and that participation by a quorum of the members by electronic or other means of communication is necessary. In this case, 2 facts support a determination of necessity. First, today's agenda items require timely action by this commission to address questions related to the search for a new executive director and to appoint committees prior to the next regularly scheduled commission meeting on November 16th, 2023. Second, scheduling conflicts and other commitments prevented a quorum of members from being physically present today.
Do I have a motion to determine that a necessity exists as cited in the statement?
So moved.
Second.
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 Wonderful. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairwoman Scarlett.
Aye.
Commissioner Allman.
Aye.
Commissioner Knight.
Aye.
Commissioner Coben.
Aye.
Commissioner Matlock.
Aye.
Commissioner Stafford.
Aye.
Secretary Hargett.
Aye.
Comptroller Mumpower.
Aye.
Chairwoman, you have 8 ayes.
Wonderful. The motion carries. So the statement shall be included in the minutes. And we talk about the adoption of the agenda. We only have 2 items today. To adopt the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Wonderful. Madam Secretary?
Chairwoman Scarlett.
Aye.
Commissioner Allman.
Aye.
Commissioner Knight.
Aye.
Commissioner Coben.
Aye.
Commissioner Matlock.
Aye.
Commissioner Stafford.
Aye.
Secretary Hargett.
Aye.
Comptroller Mumpower.
Yes.
Chairwoman, you have 8 ayes.
Wonderful. The motion carries. The next item is public comment. Dr. Gentile, have we received any requests for public comment?
Madam Chair, we've received no requests for public comment.
Thank you, Dr. Gentile. With that, we will move on to our regular calendar, and I'd like to have Lou Hanneman, if you don't mind, talk with us about the AGP search.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commission members, good morning. As you will recall, on August 8th of 2023, the THEC Commission contracted with AGB Search to conduct the formal search for a new executive director for this agency and of course, vicariously, the Tennessee Student Assistance Corporation. In the ensuing month or two, a significant amount of progress has been made. Previously, each of you have been provided an opportunity to communicate at your convenience with the search consultants for AGB. They are present with us today. I would like to introduce Janice Fitzgerald with AGB Search and I'm so sorry, and Jim also from AGB Search, who are here to walk through where they are to date with the search, their efforts in direct contact with prospective candidates, as well as to provide a brief overview of the next few critical timeline elements as we move forward towards a prospective hire date or selection date on November 16th. With that, I would turn it over to Janice, if you will. Please introduce yourself and your colleague and let us know what's going on.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I am Janice Fitzgerald. Thank you, Lou, and my longtime colleague, Jim McCormick. We've been privileged to work with you during this period of the search. We launched the search on August 31st. This active search will conclude on this Friday, October 6th. I want to thank especially Chairwoman Scarlett, commissioners, and search committee members too. We need to thank Lou Hanneman and Jesse Green, and in fact your former executive director, Robert Smith. They've been very helpful. They've kept us on track. You do have some of that tracking represented in your agenda materials. So you also see that October 6th is the deadline. We may, if you agree, consider making the following Monday a hard deadline. It looks like we're into a holiday weekend. And all of our search committee members will receive access to our confidential portal, which carries the applications. You should know that we had a very, very broad communication plan that was approved. It was done, accepted. We reached into the electronic postings. We can tell you the names of those places where we posted if you wish. We also contacted either the leadership or the entire membership of over 25 related associations to ask individuals for not only their interest, but perhaps more important or equally important nominations. And you have a very good website as well that introduces the search. That same information is on the AGB search site, which is heavily used. I think that in accordance with what Lou has asked us to do, we can share with you that the nominations, again, so important. We have had 27 people actually nominated, and many of them are still considering. Some of them have already applied. We had a good base of 14 or so people who served as nominators, and we think that's pretty healthy in this kind of business. The invitation, we consider our leadership advertisement that is on your website, the first invitation of interest to individuals for application or nomination. We are, during the first launch on August 31st, we had over 1,000 contacts with potential nominators or applicants. After that, we added another 212 individuals that we thought would be helpful to us, and then another 25 and another 75 prospective candidates. So this search has been nationwide and has touched about 1,370 individuals. I would say that that's, unless we would like to talk a bit more about the timeline, and perhaps we'll do that after what happens after the applications are seen. We can do that too, but I probably should stop here and ask Jim if he has anything to add, or more important, if you have any questions to ask.
Your questions, Janice, you handle it very well.
I'll open it to the floor if any commissioners have any questions.
I do have a question. I want to make sure I understood correctly. Janice, you said that you had 27 nominations, but not all of those nominations have actually agreed to be a candidate for the job. Is that correct?
I think that's correct. In fact, we know that 6 have already declined.
Okay.
Declining doesn't mean that we give up. If this is a really good candidate, we might do a little more talking, a little more tugging. But yes, you're quite correct.
Okay.
Are there any other questions for Dr. Fitzgerald or Dr. McCormick? Then Janice, would you mind walking us through the timeline, please?
Yes, you have the big dates, the milestone dates, I think. So once the search committee receives access to the portal, we understand that the semifinalists will grow out of an interview by those search committee members. AGB Search will assist you with not selecting, but making certain that the individuals that you want to talk to are not only contacted, but we will sort them out for you. Okay, Lou, you might want to add to that so that I said that properly. And after that list of 5 or 6, whomever you believe are the ones you want to talk with as semifinalists, you will then identify, the committee will identify the pool of finalists, 3 or 4, who will go to the full commission for consideration. In between that, be assured that there will be a lot of reference checking. The semifinalists actually will have to give us permission to not only call their listed references in the application package, but they will give us permission to do a first level deep background check. It's not the deepest, but it is one that will look into social media, LexisNexis, CourtLink activity. AGB Search will do a review of Google or other search engines to see what might pop up and what other people might see. We're hoping for the semifinalists a level of confidentiality, but we know that that cannot necessarily be promised. But we have assured them that that our Tennessee colleagues are trying to do that. And then, of course, the finalists will not be confidential. Confidentiality is so important for these individuals who take a chance on change. What's missing there, Jim?
I think you've covered it well.
You know, after the semifinalists, and the finalists get the really deep background check.
You did that, form that for all the finalists, not just the top 1 or 2.
The finalists that are identified from your group of semifinalists. Yes, and they will give us permission to do that as well. Everything is in writing. The deep background check, as you would expect, will include court activity, auto use, academic credentials must be confirmed, most recent or their last employment as they have declared it. It is quite deep.
Expecting that the finalists will be given to the commission, but not ranked. It'll just be the 2, 3, or 4 individuals that will be there for your consideration.
I don't know if any of you are familiar with, at the semifinalist level, the social media checking. We've all known about social media for 2 decades or more now, but the search firms and the individuals, the groups that we work with to do this background checking, very thorough. It's almost alarming. It almost might make you think that maybe I shouldn't do social media. A lot of things grow out of it. And it's not just what our candidates post, it's what they find worthy of reposting. And there are about 13 or 14 words and activities and postings that are considered risk factors. And this looked at very carefully.
Janice, I might add that when we do the reference checking personally, the two of us, we'll call their references. They've been asked to give us 5. We'll get as many as we can, try to get 3 and often 5. And we ask them some questions that will reflect what you're looking for. Do they have experience and what would people want to say? But we always ask, is there anything that you know of that would be embarrassing to the Tennessee board and to the person? And mostly we get the answer, not that we know of. Occasionally we hear, well, not that we know of, but we think there was some question when the person was hired, whatever, and we'll follow up on that. But we always ask that question.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning. On the portal there, when we have access to that portal, and I wanted to make sure I was understanding correctly, we will see approximately 21 candidates under that portal, or will we have access once those become semifinalists?
Oh, the search committee will have access to all of the applicants.
However,
15, 20, 25.
the search committee is a subset of the whole commission.
Right.
So at what point does the commission have access? Does the commission get access to the portal, or does that happen later after the November 3rd date?
Oh, as we understand it, the commission has given that responsibility to the search committee. So there not really be a reason, but that's not our business. That's not what we think about.
Madam Chair, Lou Hanneman here. If I could, I'll also kind of speak into that piece of it. I think the original design of this was to have the search committee gain access to that portal, and then in their capacity as the recommending body on semifinalists and then finalists to establish that semifinalist pool. And so I think the original intent was to provide access to that portal for the search committee members, for them to deliberate on that November 3rd date when they conduct those interviews with the semifinalists, in partnership with the 3 advisors to the search committee.
Certainly, Lou, the commission would have access to the finalists' complete application package. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So as a part of that next step going into the November quarterly meeting, full packages for each of the finalists will be provided in the materials to all the commission members ahead of that time, certainly as close to the resolution date as we can. Ostensibly, we will have a decision on that finalist pool on November 3rd. We suspect that literally the day after, we would be able to provide those materials to the full commission for their review ahead of the formal interviews on the 16th.
Lou, I have a question for you. On the 16th, let's say we have 3 finalists. How are we going to work the timing of that interview process and decision making?
Yes, ma'am. That's a really good question. And, to be totally frank, we're still working through the logistics. I suspect that what we've largely talked about internally, just from a logistics standpoint, is that it might be better served for the commission to address this in really 2 sessions. One, to have a search-specific session of the full commission where they interview the final candidates. They have a deliberation period and come to some resolution about the next executive director, and then either a break or transition into what would be the normal and heavy November agenda. And so just to keep some line of demarcation there, but that's more of just an agenda setting and scheduling. Ostensibly, we would have the two or three finalists actually present, to appear before the commission in person, rather than a virtual attendance. And so there's those logistics to work out as well.
Understood.
Any other questions regarding the search and the timeline? Okay. Well, thank you, Dr. Fitzgerald and Dr. McCormick. We appreciate you providing us the summary of where we are right now, but also the timeline and helping guide us on this journey. Looking for now a motion to approve the search timeline and the deliverable components as proposed by the AGB.
I'll make a motion to approve the timeline.
Second.
I think Vernon provided a motion. Is there a second?
Whitney, second.
I believe Commissioner Allman seconded, Chairwoman.
Any further discussion? Okay. With no objection, we will take a roll call vote. Madam Secretary.
Chairwoman Scarlett,
Aye.
Commissioner Allman,
Aye.
Commissioner Knight,
Aye.
Commissioner Coben,
Aye.
Commissioner Matlock,
Aye.
Commissioner Stafford,
Aye.
Commissioner Wharton,
Aye.
Secretary Hargett, Comptroller Mumpower. Secretary Hargett, can you clarify your vote? I was unable to hear it. Thank you, sir. Chairwoman, you have 8 ayes.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Motion carries. Thank you, Dr. Fitzgerald and Dr. McCormick. We really appreciate your support in this search.
We appreciate being with you. Have a continued good day and good meeting. See you soon.
Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you very much. Our next item actually came from our summer quarterly meeting. It was about the advisory committees. I think at the time we didn't think that we could move forward with those, but actually we are able to do so. And so we're able to provide a mechanism within the THEC rules of procedure, can provide a mechanism for the chair to appoint commission members to serve on advisory committees with the concurrence of other commission members. And as we think about the conversation we had this summer and the importance of providing a clear value proposition to help students reach their goals, THEC has a really big opportunity. Tennessee has a really big opportunity to be that powerful force for economic growth and community prosperity. And having the opportunity to set the pace, having THEC set the pace and strategic direction for Tennessee's colleges and universities, our students and the state can really thrive. And so with that, there's been some conversation in that commission meeting about creating advisory committees. And I'd like Stephen Gentile, if you wouldn't mind, as our interim executive director, share an overview of the proposed committees.
Of course, thank you, Chairwoman Scarlett. Members of the commission, it's an honor to be in front of you today, as are the staff as well. To provide some background context to what it looks like right now with committee structures, we do have in our policy manual 2 named committees. One is the executive committee, and that comprises the chair, vice chairs, and secretary. And another is the audit committee. The audit committee does meet on a regular basis, I believe, twice a year. The executive committee itself has not been deployed in recent memory or history to have agenda items to think through and discuss and to move forward to the commission. I'll come back to that executive committee here in a second. But in conversations with Chairwoman Scarlett and our council on what is possible as far as advisory committees, in front of you is a proposal to add 2 advisory committees for a 12-month trial period to better inform the direction that the commission may want to go in the future with putting committees into our policy, if that is the will of the commission. The first committee is the Access, Academics, and Student Success Committee. And the second is the Finance and Operations Committee. Thinking about that first committee, I think of this as more of a committee focused on our core functions. What is it is in statute for the commission, the THEC staff to be operating, to bring items in front of as far as academic affairs go, access and success, looking under the hood to see about how those policies are listed and what works best to meet the needs of the commission and the state. The second is the Finance and Operations Committee. This is more about the requests that we have with regards to finances that affect statewide higher education, as well as our internal operations. When thinking about how would you say is the difference between these 2 committees, that first committee, Access, Academics, and Student Success, could look at issues regarding affordability, retention, completion, success, academic programming, workforce development, etc. It may also, based on its remit, look into the actual metrics of the outcomes-based funding formula as an example, something that drives student success in the state of Tennessee. That committee would be informing the direction the commission would want to go on the outcomes-based funding formula. Contrast that with the Finance and Operations Committee specifically. That committee would be taking the outcomes funding formula and what the request is coming out of that to inform the direction financially that the state would be going. And so I'll take a step back there to say that's the idea of these 2 committees. When discussing, I know prior executive director Bob Smith had contacted all, if not most of you, to talk through these committees. I'm thinking about the staffing of those committees and the placement of board members on them, looking for regional representation. We have, working with Chairman Scarlett, come to an idea of who could serve on those committees, including, for instance, on the Access and Academic Affairs completion, Commissioner Winton, Commissioner Scarlett, Commissioner Wharton, Secretary Hargett, Commissioner Knight, and Commissioner Morrison. On the Finance and Operations Committee, Commissioner Matlock, Commissioner Cope, Commissioner Coben, Commissioner Moser, Commissioner Stafford, Treasurer Lillard, and Comptroller Mumpower. Now, as a reminder, I mentioned earlier the executive committee that has, in all effect, been dormant for some time. That committee that's already in place with Commissioner Winton, Scarlett, Stafford, and Allman, there's an opportunity for that committee to inform on the strategic direction for the agency. So that could, going back to some of the meetings that we had back over the summer, the retreat, what is it the commission wants the agency to be doing as far as a strategic direction? And that can then inform the strategic master plan, higher education master plan for the state. So Chairwoman Scarlett, I'll take a pause there to see if there are any questions or if you'd like me to add more context. And
Yeah, and per the end of our meeting last time, these are not to say permanent committees at this point, because that's something that we would have to officially vote in, but these are, for lack of a better term, ad hoc committees to be able to service the conversations that we have going on strategically and to be able to service some of the conversations internally as well. Are there any questions in regards to the approach at this point? Yes, it's Commissioner Stafford.
Yes, just a couple questions. One, is there already in place, or will there be developed charters for these committees that will specify their scope?
But they can create something.
Commissioner Stafford, that is not the intent to put charters in place. I think this material here in front of you is meant to help define that. However, that is something that you guys can do as members of the committees when they meet to move that forward, as well as select the chair of those committees too. Is that correct, Rachel? Rachel, thank you.
And then second question is, my understanding, and correct me if I'm incorrect, but my understanding is that these committees will largely meet virtually as opposed to in person. Is that correct?
Yes, I think that is, sorry, Chairwoman Scarlett.
I would expect so, Vernon, especially from where we are now.
Thank you.
Commissioner Coben.
Yes, generally committees of this nature have a staff person or two that are the point people for them? I just wondered if that's been thought through and who those individuals would be.
Dr. Gentile?
That's an excellent question. In fact, I was talking with our leadership staff yesterday, our directors and more, saying that we need to better identify people to help staff our commission and our committees in general. I will work with our board secretary and our chief of staff to think about those specific committees and who would be best suited for it. As I mentioned earlier, the Access, Academic Affairs, and Student Success, I know I have about 5 bureau chiefs who could probably hit on a lot of that information, but I think that's an excellent observation and something that we can work on our end.
Okay, thank you, Stephen.
What other questions do we have?
One more question. I also assume these committees would be expected to meet prior to each commission meeting. Is that correct, or just maybe as needed?
And I would propose it's more of an as-needed conversation. I would expect that the committees and the staff would want to have those conversations prior to the commission meeting so that we have an informed commission. So with this, with no other questions, I would welcome a motion to approve the committees as proposed.
Moved.
Second.
All right, any further discussion on the committees at this point? Okay, with no objection, we will take a roll call vote. Madam Secretary?
Chairwoman Scarlett?
Aye.
Chairwoman Scarlett?
Aye.
Commissioner Allman?
Aye.
Commissioner Knight?
Aye.
Commissioner Coben? Commissioner Matlock?
Aye.
Commissioner Stafford?
Aye.
Commissioner Wharton?
Aye.
Secretary Hargett?
Aye.
Chairwoman, you have 8 ayes.
Wonderful. The motion carries. Those were our 2 big agenda items. Is there any other business that anyone would like to bring up? All right. Well, then this concludes our agenda. If there's any questions or comments for the good of the group before we close?
Madam Chair.
Yes. Yes.
I don't
Commissioner
know if
Matlock.
any of the commission members have enjoyed reading the dialogue between my friend John Reagan and the gentleman from Austin P, but that's getting quite entertaining.
Yes, I don't know if staff would like to comment on that. Dr. Gentile, maybe?
I defer to Mr. Lou Hanneman here.
Okay.
Just in this regard, that we have been in communication with Chairman Reagan on these issues and other related matters for several months now. And I think that ongoing communications will probably play out through the coming legislative session.
Lou, you may know this, but John used to fight in the fighter planes, so he's kind of liking the battle, I bet.
I'm very aware, sir. Thank you.
I love that. Well, our next regularly scheduled meeting, the Tennessee Higher Education Commission will be Thursday, November 16th. Due to Commissioner Coben's comment in regards to time, I want to make sure we have enough time during that commission meeting to not only complete the search decision, but also act on the other agenda items that we will have. I am a little bit concerned when it comes to timing, so I want to make sure that everyone's schedules are secured with the appropriate allotment of time that we'll need for that 16th meeting. And so, Dr. Gentile, I will just kind of leave that to you to scope that out however it makes sense and make sure that we're able to have as many commission members there for the entirety of the conversation.
Absolutely. We'll take the lead on that.
Thank you. If there's no further business, then we stand adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
You guys.